Okay, so today is about sharing what we've done so far, and I'm recording it and going to post it. I have the last one posted, and the first thing I wanted to do is just do some housekeeping. If you don't know, all these sessions we have kept track of, and I'm logged in as Mr. Cheney right now. And if you go to the Blended Learning site, and on this right-hand side, it shows the attendance that you have credit for. I want you to make sure you check, for instance, I'm going to go to Mr. Cheney's. It says that these are the ones he's been to. He either attended or assisted on that one, so he attended. If he attended to the project, and this is what you've gotten paid for, and it's what you're going to get CU credits for. I'm doing a CU certificate for everybody. So you're going to, anything you attended, you're going to get an hour. If you did a project, you're going to get an hour, and if you taught, you're going to get 3 hours. So for like the blended folding scaffolding section, he's going to get 2 hours credit for. For the Roundup, he's going to get 2 hours. So on the CEU sheet that I'm going to print out for everybody. So if I missed something, i.e. you did the project and mailed it to me, then you need to let me know so that I fix it for you and you get credit for it. So please take a minute to go and look there at some point. Okay. So today is about sharing. I'm going to start and do one of mine just to get us going, even though I shared last week, but I'll share again. The one thing that I really wanted to show a module that I'm doing that is new, that we learned about at the eTech conference, that I've started using in my class, and it is the Moodle book. And what I really am starting to do is to consolidate a lot of my Moodle online stuff. If you look, there's a whole bunch of video stuff down here, and now it's all consolidated. By the way, the students can only see in this section, they can only see this. I thought I switched to the on. No, I switched back. The students can only see this one thing now because I've consolidated everything inside this book module. And what the book module lets you do is that I'm kind of, it's called the book, but I'm kind of thinking of it more as chapters. So in this chapter, I have all of my stuff that I used to have kids read linked inside here. I'm going to go to the back and click on it right there. And in a lot of cases, the reading and the links, like in this case, I used to have them read some selected sections of Wikipedia. Now I've just actually harvested that into my page so that you can have that right in there. If they click on it, it still opens to Wikipedia and the link inside it. But you can also not only embed web pages in there, you can embed YouTube videos in there. So I had them, in this case, they had to read through these things, then watch these 2 videos, and then this is just a link to how to compare video cards. We don't need to go over the whole thing. This is a YouTube video on how to install video cards, and then you can embed the assignment actually inside it. So after they've read through this book, they went here, and it automatically links them to the assignment. Okay?
Is there any way that they could, do they have to be online in order to access that? So like if a kid's at home and they don't have internet access or whatever?
They have to be online to do this one. It's not like it's a PDF version. But before they were going to individual websites anyway, they had to be online to go to those. So, and this, quite honestly, was an in-class activity that I had them do. It wasn't an outside of class. It was a self-paced activity. I need you guys to read through this section and do the assignment at the end. So that's a Moodle book. All the editing in the Moodle book is exactly like every other editing block in Moodle. Yeah.
The assignment that you have there, I guess, is that a lesson?
No, this is right here. It's the exact thing that's underneath here. It's just linked inside the book.
So somebody could skip
the whole thing and
go
right
to the assignment.
Yes, it's not a lesson in that you have to go here, 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 and here. The advantage of this over a lesson is that it's got the chapters on the side, and then you can go back and just review this one. Although I know in the lesson you can't have the progress show on the side. You kind of get the same thing in a lesson. This is way easier to set up than a Moodle lesson. Anybody can set one of these up. Here's how easy it is. I'm going to go back to becoming me just to show you that the great thing about it is that should have recalibrated when we started here, I guess. When you're inside a Moodle book, all you have to do, if I turn editing on, is if I want to add a new page in between these two pages, I just hit the plus, and then it opens up. And you can embed these inside each other, so you can have subcategories in there too. It's a really, really easy one to set up. So that's a Moodle book, and I'm doing it not just in that class, but in fact in my advanced technology class, if I showed you I have tons of sections down here on everything, I'm putting everything together on one textbook so that I have all the things that I used to have them do. These are going to be all my flip lessons for the whole year inside one place, so that I can just say, go and do that flipped video, and they can just go, okay, how do I image a PC, and they can click right to there, or how do I use the Ultimate Boot CD, and they can click right there. And if I have embedded YouTube videos, they can use TubeMate to download them, whatever. So I'm using it to collect everything in one place. In particular, on my flip stuff, because what I really want to do is not do like I did this year and fight to stay ahead of making them. I'm trying to bring them all together and get them all ready over the summer. Because one of the things that I'm going to do that was one of the more successful things I did was when I had a day that they always did a flip lesson. Okay, Tuesday will always be flip lesson. You have all the way until Tuesday to get it done, because that's going to be the intro to the next project we do or whatever. I found that when I said a day that we're doing it, they remembered, but when I just said, hey, you need to make sure you watch the video for next class, I had more misses than hits. So if you build it in your routine that there will always be one on Friday, or there'll always be one on every whatever day, I think you get a little more successful. The other thing with this project that was one of my more successful ones, actually my most successful one, was what the project itself was. A lot of times I'll have a hard time getting them to go and watch a YouTube video or watch whatever video. This assignment was, after they read all that stuff, they have to go on YouTube and find the best video that they can on that subject and submit to me the video. So they would just go on here and they gave me the link. For instance, I'll go ahead and go to his. They just gave me the link to the YouTube video right down here, which back on the other page I could just go on and.
Was that just an online text?
Yeah, right. That was just where they could edit the thing online. And the great thing about that assignment, and see, I could click on it right here and it would just open and I could go to that YouTube video. The great thing about that assignment was that if I said, go watch this video on how to choose a video card, I would have very few of them watch the video all the way through. If I said, go find me the best video on how to do a video card, they watched 5 or 10 different videos. To pick the best one, and they watched it all the way through. So I had, not only did I get them to watch one, I got them to watch way more than one to pick me what they said the best one, because nobody went and just found one.
Yeah, I actually did that assignment in class today. We were looking for a video on how to conjugate ER and IR verbs. We'd done AR, we were putting it all together, and they found a lot of videos that I haven't even seen before that were doing the same thing, but they picked their own style of music video background that would go with it, so it was pretty cool. It worked that way. And then I did it online.
The cool thing about it is you could use that, you could say, okay, this really was the best one, now I use that one as my flip video next year, because sometimes you don't have time to find everything. So that was my downside was probably what a lot of people had, which was failure to complete stuff when I assigned just a flip video. If I didn't assign some kind of assessment along with it, I didn't get it done. And even when I did have an assessment along with it, a lot of kids would do it late, get, partial credit, but then I lost the whole point of it, which was for you to watch it ahead of time so we could just continue from that discussion in class. So that was mine, and I'll let anybody want to volunteer to go next to share a lesson and some positives and negatives, and I would ask that you come up here and I can be your mouse for you if you want to. Everybody has to share. Okay. Do you want me to pull up a specific class of yours?
Yeah, English 10.
Okay.
Okay, go down to projects.
Oh, is it further down?
Projects.
There we go.
Like, there we go.
Hold on, you want to turn editing off so we don't have all this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so in general, just with the tablets, I had a lot of issues with tablets being dead. I didn't have an extra charger. I know these are all responsibilities of the students to come to class prepared, but it got to be the point where I would have 10 out of 20 that didn't work, couldn't download the certain thing that I was working on, so it created a lot of downtime. So on a general term speaking, I didn't do any embedded like lessons within Moodle. Instead, I used it more as you can see, I kept a lot of links and a lot of PDFs or Word documents so that they had multiple ways to open them. They could download them, do them at home, bring them back. That they didn't have to have 24/7 access to the internet because I have several students who don't have internet at home. So I tried to kind of bring a hybrid lesson. Well, all the files were able to be accessed multiple different ways, and I was also pretty open to other students turned in work via just regular paper, Google Docs, emailed, some kind of form submission through Moodle, etc. The number one success for me, I would say, through Moodle was plagiarism checker. So what I did was they went to this website. They copied and pasted their essay or paper into this. I don't know if you want to scroll down or not. And then all you have to do is click plagiarism checker. It takes a few minutes. It runs and it tells you the percentage. And then if you go back.
Oh, go back.
Yes. And go down to plagiarism check your results. You could do one journal entries. As you can see, then I had them copy and paste the unique content. They needed a 76 or better, 71% or better. And then it went through each line and said whether these lines were good or whether they had been taken from the source. So it shows you. You can also furthermore go down and find the quote that they actually took and click on it, and it'll take you directly to the website that they took it from. The reason this became monotonous, the one negative to it is that to get to the next student, you have to scroll down through a lot. But the next part of it is that if I just had to put 72% unique content, well, any student could make up a number and submit it. Obviously, they can cheat and copy and paste their neighbor's results into Moodle, but by the time they're doing all that, they're doing even more work. So, on a general basis, I think you kind of can notice and pick up trends on the students' writing, so that helped me kind of assess. But the best thing that I liked about this is it took my opinion away of, well, this child's using that I did, that my wording was too close. And I didn't have to deal with that at all because, I could say, I trust your opinion. We're letting, the plagiarism checker there come through with the results. So it took the personal conflict out of it and just left it between the computer and their essay. And it also was really helpful if I had any questions, it would take me directly to the source that they got it from. So that made it really fast, quick, and easy. We can go back to it. Are there any questions on that? There might be a better way to embed the two together. Like, as in, you could pull up one assignment, have it all right there where they plug it in, and then the results pop out in Moodle. If there is.
Well, if you used it as a Moodle assignment instead of a journal, you wouldn't have to go through that. You just hit next, and I mean that would solve that problem, especially with that large of a paste that you're having them do. I would have them do instead of a journal, do online text. They're still going to cut and paste right into Moodle, but then you can just hit next to go to the next student. You don't have to.
That would be really helpful. And the website that I used
And that was to show how much the content was original. So like if you got a 72, it says 72% of that content was yours and not.
Was your work and the other
That's cool.
was not. So you don't want a paper that has 95 to 100%. You want them pulling in quotes on a research paper and considering other sources, but you don't want anything lower than probably 76%. Would be too much of someone else's works. So the one suggestion that might, I don't know if this is financially feasible with next year, I really want to do more blended learning lessons, do most of my submissions online, but because I ran into so much with the tablets, I'm wondering, I've been to schools that have had a system where if you have a school's tablet, you take it for repair, that you get a loaner tablet to use until your tablet is repaired. I don't know.
Almost all of them are repaired when they're in there in intervention. Just kids aren't coming. Occasionally, it's. I mean, when they crush it, they turn it into the office, and that's probably something we'll do next year. Is have 10 or even 20 down in the office that are sign outs that when they turn them into the office that are broken, they'll get one. I think that's a good suggestion. But most of the time, the kids just aren't doing anything with them. They come in and say it doesn't work, and a lot of times they'll say that they don't work, and they'll come down. It's just their charger that's bad. They don't have to pay for them anything. You just have to bring in a charger. We plug it in, see it doesn't work. We hand them a new one. I mean, that's why I bought 100 extras, so that we could just swap those out. And if you want 5 chargers in your room as spares, all you have to do is come down and ask for them, and we'll give you 5 chargers.
I have piloted a few reading projects on there. We read the Odyssey via like abridged text versions on Moodle versus the enhanced. At first, I kind of lost some students that were obstinate about reading. I had 17 copies in my room that occasionally students would come in and grab. For the most part, though, I didn't notice much of a difference between having the text and having it online. I noticed too on my own iPad with the Kindle reader, it's been pretty, let's see, I got my iPad a year ago and I've noticed a huge improvement in being able to take annotations and highlight. Now I can even highlight in different colors on my Kindle app. I can click one button and have a quote emailed to me, and that's all changed since I originally downloaded the Kindle app a year ago, so I think it's becoming a lot more accessible to actually annotate and interact with the text versus where it came out, a year or two ago. It was a little bit harder to do so and easier to do with sticky notes or, a piece of paper when you're reading. So
You can even do that actually in Adobe too.
yes, Adobe.
And I've done it with Adobe, but one thing I've noticed, for just some of the things I understand, if it's not 100% completely straight, that highlighting sometimes becomes extreme.
As long as you do the OCR on it, it's
Yeah.
100% completely straight. If you didn't do the
Okay.
OCR thing, then
You gotta watch this video about how to OCR.
Well, I think it does answer, because it's still, it will do it by word,
Does it
it'll
read-
have,
Does it read the text?
yeah, I never tried that, I'll have to
yeah.
look at
If you
that.
don't, if
Because
you
that's
OCR it, it
extra.
automatically rotates and lines everything up and turns it into text.
Even if there's a picture attached?
Yes, and it
Mhm.
turns the pictures into photos within the text and stuff.
Now, it won't grab 100% of the text. If the text is actually near a piece of text that's like a picture, but it's text, it's
Yeah, like the
giant
yeah.
R or something like that, but everything else it'll actually get. Because there's some people that scan stuff that, are over here that have never OCR'd the things. The kids actually get them, and they are. I
Yeah.
mean, they couldn't be more cockeyed.
I just got the stuff from my own textbook, and the files that were 69 meg, when I OCR'd them, turned into less than 1. I mean, it was crazy how much less room it took once it did. Yeah,
Yeah, they load a lot
they were
faster,
crazy,
you know.
better.
And this, seriously, if you don't do it and you have ones that are like 20 meg, all right, the kids get ticked off.
And we bought the new version of Adobe, so all you have to do is ask me, and if you're going to use it, I'll come down and I'll install it. We own it now.
Is that Pro?
Less than 2.
11, yes, Adobe Pro 11, the newest version.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me
I haven't
some
had any
time.
trouble with it.
I installed the new one on yours. Yeah, there's a newer one. It does better.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, 10
No,
is
10 was
sweet.
fine.
The thing is that you can actually put
But 11's legal and we own it. I just muted. The 10 was stolen. Okay, unmuted.
Five, 80% of it completed, then there's still some kids who do it later at some point, and then you have to harass the rest. But that's probably what I've used it most for, is something along those lines, or have a quiz or something following the video.
How did the sound come out with the?
I think it did pretty well. I try to intentionally talk louder a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, I mean, I think it does great.
Did anybody here start recording all their classes this year?
Yeah, well, I started to.
And I want to stress that that isn't about this year. It's about next year. I recorded all my classes last year. And this year, when I wanted to build a blended learning lesson, it was so nice because I could just go to that class, cut out 10 minutes that I wanted to use as an intro, and then I just put that video on. I didn't have to go and record a class. I mean, sometimes I did, recorded something.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I would just take the one I recorded last year, cut out whatever with Movie Maker, and then post that on YouTube as the intro, or post, on
Now,
here.
on YouTube, if you make a playlist, you can truncate it where you want it to start and stop?
You can go in on a video and you can trim it.
Yeah.
And so you can say it'll play from here to here,
Yeah.
right, on YouTube. You don't even have
Does
to.
it have to be a playlist?
No, you just go into the
Okay.
video and click edit.
Because I
and
started
you can
doing
chunk
that
the
because usually I'll start my classes with a journal or something, but that's not always the same year after year. But then I just started chopping off that first 10 minutes or so.
video. I mean, even if you're like, I don't want to post those this year, if next year you think about it, just start hitting record and record it and save it and
Well,
record
see,
and save it, and then you'll be able to use those same lectures next
That
year.
is crazy useful for students that are gone.
Yeah.
Because then all you say is, well, I've recorded all the lectures, I've recorded all the lessons on Moodle, just
And
watch it.
All my
There's
kids
no
know
excuse.
that right down at the bottom it has all my class videos posted to YouTube, and they know that if they missed class,
Yeah.
I just went with the new YouTube format last night. I haven't really looked at it. But if they missed class, then there's all the stuff from chapter 2 right there, all the classes that are recorded from chapter 2.
Yeah.
And I made a different playlist for every chapter, so that basically now I don't have to edit Moodle. It goes to the chapter 2 playlist right there. And when I upload, you can just, on the upload, if you've never looked on the right hand side, it says add to playlist whatever, and it just throws at the end of that. As you upload it, you're done. In fact, once it's done uploading, when it's processing, you don't even have to leave the browser open anymore. You can go to the next thing and just proceed on. So I would suggest, I don't know that many people were recording all their classes. I think some people didn't understand that it's not really about this year. It's about next year. It is about this year with absentee,
Yeah. I'm
because
using that a lot.
well, I mean,
sometimes I forget.
I've had kids.
that's what. Did you see my classroom? It says start recording dummy. I have signs. Yeah, it's
But
easy.
I forget sometimes, and then other times, it would be 3/4 into the class.
Well, I script recording myself and bought into other people's stuff.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's fine too. I mean, if
Yeah.
you find somebody else who teaches that. My thing is, I can't find anybody who teaches what I teach.
And
Oh,
some of the
yeah.
students
I mean,
told me
so-
that they'd rather hear me
See,
explain
and I-
something than somebody
they-
else
they-
doing it, but,
Well,
yeah, it's
I'm a,
whatever works.
well, yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, like, social studies, I could go off on a tangent, and we're like, here I go, and I'm like, crap. I was like, I didn't cover all the stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that's just me, tangents.
They have to be, what Jonathan, you said, that they get used to, they understand your style of
Yeah.
it. So it makes it easier to understand than having various different people trying to figure out.
I think it's good to be exposed to both. You don't want to just do it yourself, I think, but for the makeup work especially.
Well, there are
I felt that
also
was-
times where somebody does actually do it better than you.
Yeah.
And then there's
Oh,
other
yeah.
times where, why hasn't anybody done a video on this yet? Now I have to make one, Because there's, particulars and points that aren't not always covered.
Yeah.
I just think that I wanted to put in the mics to make it easy to do. I don't know that enough. I don't know if enough's the right word. Many teachers.
The only
Started
problem I
doing it.
noticed was if you're trying to record a video that you're watching,
It looks really bad.
and then it gets bad.
Yeah, the video gets bad.
And so
But if
in
you
those
have a link
cases, I
to
just
that
have
on
a
your-
link,
then
I
just-
say, go watch this link and then come back or something. Work on
Miss Ald, you're next.
Multiple we can start with Spanish 3. Yes. I guess my biggest thing was I started the year off with Evernote, and I found it to be fabulous for a while, but trying to navigate through all of everybody's notes, everybody's in the syncing, and it became more of a hassle than a helpful tool. So I've grown more fond of the online text directly in Moodle, so I can track through Moodle who's doing it, who's not, so I don't have to go to an outside source. I like that Evernote had Sketch and the ways to capture different things rather than just the text, but but I've been doing online text more frequently. Oh, I need to put this. So this is just an example. We did an art unit in Spanish 3, and I wrote their directions in English. I want them to give me Spanish, but I wanted to be very clear too. But we do a lot more in Spanish in class. But this one, they had to create a thought bubble for each one of these little images by famous Spanish-speaking artists, and then they had to upload that into an online text. And if you could go to Spanish 1, I use that as well. I use that a lot of times when I'm absent. Like yesterday, I had to do an online text when I wasn't here. Well, this was the YouTube video, so I can show you that. I gave them an example of when we watched in class, and then they had to find their own. And I actually got some really good ones from kids that I didn't quite necessarily expect. Christian, for example, but he found one that was specific to his style of music. And he was like, Miss Autumn, we have to watch this video. And so we put the video on. He was really excited about it, and it was actually what I wanted. And it is a video I have seen before. It's not the one I use most frequently, but it was a good video. And I've got a whole bunch of video clips from different kids, and there's a whole bunch of different styles. I don't know if you want to see. Yes, go back there. That wasn't what I was going to show you. Oh, I'll just go this way.
No.
Okay, this is another online text. I find these comics and this is actually Spanish 1, and this one's in Spanish, and well, I don't have smart going. It says, that's weird. Okay, dude, I'll try to help you. Tell me what happened. And this is her chatting in English, and then here she is in front of the class. The book is on the table. And that's, so they had to kind of, I asked them some questions just to get them thinking, like, define the words that are up there, and then how does she feel how you speak in English in front of the class versus at home. And they do an online text, and they had to make their own comic strip kind of thing. So that was kind of fun. But those are all online texts.
So they uploaded stuff onto this?
Yeah, they. But it's sometimes the same thing where they're like, I feel like doing it or not because it's on Moodle, but I know if they do it or not. Right there. Connor's answers the questions, but whoops. And here it's emailed to you. Most of them turned the actual comic in, but they submitted the answers to the questions right on the online text. But most of the comics are paper versions, which I don't mind. It cuts back at least most of the paper.
Can they come back in and you
Yeah.
get feedback and they modify it? And then
Yeah, I always click allow resubmitting,
Right.
because sometimes they're like, oh, I didn't finish it, and I was like, so just resubmit. So I keep that button always clicked on there. So, and like today with the YouTube assignment, I said, oh, you gave me the link, but you have to tell me, you know, what's the video saying, what's the main points, and how could someone use this to study. So they had to go, some kids just gave me a link, I needed them to go back and write about it. And then, so I really like the online text. You can't do necessarily as much as the Evernote does, but it's a lot more right there, and it's broken down according to your classes, and each person.
Have you thought about,
like
with
the
Evernote, you can use an online text and Evernote. You could have them do Evernote and submit the link to it in your online text.
I could do that.
Because then you could have all the things they could do in Evernote. Now, it makes them do two things. They got to do the Evernote, and then they got to go to Moodle to submit it. And if you say, I can't get to your Evernote unless you give me the link,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like a Google Docs thing.
And it really hasn't been a problem because I've only done a little bit of this sketch. Well, they do a lot of voice recordings on Evernote, and I think then that would be good with the link, because sometimes I either have them email me the voice recording, or I have to like listen to their tablet, play it back to me. So a link to their Evernote would be good, because it takes a long time to sync them all up. And then
Right, you just basically have the same assignment as an online text that says, do this Evernote assignment and put your completed link here.
Because that would be neat. And then the last one is Spanish 2. If you could go to Spanish 2. Thanks. Okay, and it's just kind of a piggyback on your Moodle books. I find them fabulous, and I don't know if you've noticed all the crap I have here. That it's hidden now, but they're all resources I kept. My Spanish 2 is they're tutoring second graders, and I kept putting the songs that we use to help them teach like at the very top, and it was bogging down the, like we're not supposed to have a lot, but they needed it quick and available. And now they're all in this fabulous, right there, ebook off to the side. This is a basic mini version of what you're doing with it so far, but I always have like my formative and my summative, and then a resource section, and it's just resource after resource after resource. So I find that the Moodle books are going to be really great for what I'm doing. So.
And by the way,
it's very new.
they
Very
can go
new.
on there and
It's
save it as a
one of my
PDF
best.
from the Moodle book. I think
Okay.
one of these lets them
Save it as a PDF.
print complete book. I think.
And this one's not really a book because they're just video clips.
Right.
Mine
has a lot of videos too.
Yeah, and I have the video, so then if they want to do the ABC song, they can go to this one. They're teaching colors, they can go there. But that's just a basic version of it. But I think this came so late that I wish I had it earlier in the year, so all my resources. And I feel like I can put them, you know, not necessarily even in my unit. Do you that scroll thing? That unit thing? Oh, yes. That's not a good example. Oh, man. But, like, I have lots of resources here. So I could have my units, not even in my unit, but you know how they made those bars on the side? Like, the important information?
Yeah, you
And
could just have
like,
chapter 1 book,
unit
chapter
1,
book,
resource
yeah.
section, you know, all those things. So I feel like it could be a quick link, and then it just kind of explodes within the ebook. So I'm really excited about that. So that kind
Yeah, I'm
of-
going to use one book for each chapter in my classes.
Well, that's what I feel like would be best. And I have like different, like the Day of the Dead project, you could just, all the resources could go there. And I have them like that separated, but it gets so bogged down with link after link after link. So I think it'll be, ebooks are going to be good.
Yeah, I like
Brian, do they actually see, like, if you're on Evernote, you don't actually see that URL or that link.
I thought you could mail the link or something.
You can email it, but like if I go to mail, I don't actually see the link to copy and paste that link. So I don't know that I would have to almost like email it to myself
Self and then copy
and then
it.
copy and paste it into Moodle, which I mean is doable.
Or I wonder if I could do, I haven't tried it on Audacity, but I wonder if I could do one of those kind of things, combine it with Moodle and upload that there.
I guarantee you there's an app that you can
I'm sure there probably is.
email the audio file or something too. Heidi, do you have something you'd like to share next?
Call it my science.
Oh, dang, you haven't done yet.
Call it my
Yes.
The first thing I kind of did, well, I have my textbook has a lot of links in it, and they've used that, and we've used that to kind of annotate, and they've had the links to kind of videos and all that. But I tried a couple times doing having them watch a YouTube video as homework and having like 3 or 4 questions about the video. One of them, like, at least for this one, was like, what color pen did he use to draw the graph? I was really just looking to see that they had watched the video. And then those kids that had it done, when they came in, they worked on a lab that then was a follow-up to having that content. And then the kids who had not kind of completed, then they had to watch the video in class and complete it before they were able to move on to the lab. So it was kind of a way to try and give the information, I guess, outside of class. I do a lot with Moodle lessons, so I'm going to go back. And I have Moodle lessons set up. This is the like science section, where for like my cells, I do a lot of this, especially with, I have content, like my grade level test covers 6th, 7th, and 8th grade material. And cells is actually like not 8th grade material. It's kind of something that they should have picked up in 6th grade. But it's always in my tested area. It's always been tested. So I pretty much have like the learning targets and the questions all set up in there. And it takes them through and makes them kind of go back, and they have to get it correct before they can move on. But I also have embedded in there at points where you've gotten to this point, now you need to come see me. There's an activity that you have to do that's whether it's creating a poster, whether it's creating, doing a partial lab, looking at these microscopes, and that's kind of embedded into some of these things. But at some point it will say, okay, now you need to go see Mrs. Perry and get this part, or go get this. So it's kind of a combination of both work at your own pace here, and then come see me in for some of the stuff that's around the room. That's kind of what I mostly, I do a lot with the legal lessons.
So most of those, Heidi, are meant to be done in class or outside of class?
I've done it both. So sometimes like they'll do parts of it outside of class. Like I basically will sometimes say, okay, you have this week to get cell lesson done and reproduction part 1 done. And how you do it, like if you want to do some of this outside of class, and so when you come to class, you just have to do those parts that are in the room. I've had kids do that, and I have kids who do it completely in class. Usually we're doing some other things as well, and it has some other things that they have to get done. This was kind of also when we were studying for OAA, and I had some other like study island and other things as well that they had to do. So they were able to kind of choose which part of it they wanted to work on, what they wanted to do in class and what they wanted to do outside.
I know you didn't touch on it, but having tutored one of your students, I also like that you had, when you had a science, when you had a project and they had to pick topics of what they wanted to research, you used the Moodle, I don't know if it was the survey. It wanted the survey so that they could see, they could sign up for the one and they could see what was available or what topics weren't available anymore, and it processed it all for her, and that was kind of.
Oh, was it a choice then?
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it was a choice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know she mentioned it, but I thought it was really cool.
Well, I totally forgot. I wasn't going to mention it, so thank you.
I don't remember what.
Okay, that was.
I think we did ecology.
It wasn't that. It was the independent research project. So I had, each class had a different, I started at the beginning of the year this, and then I kind of, okay, so here, for the independent research, that was not that one, Science of the News, this one back here. In Science of the News, they had to do a research paper, and they had to choose a field of science. And so I basically kind of listed, they had to choose a field of science that they wanted to research and tell about and explain what is that field, where they studied, where are the key findings. They had to come up with the key scientists, past and present, and where this field is going now. And they had to create a movie, they had to create a 2-minute video explaining all of this. So I didn't want a PowerPoint presentation, I wanted them to, which a lot of them were very upset about, because PowerPoint is extremely easy to them. And so now having them try and do something, creating a movie, they just were not. They were can we do PowerPoint? Like, nope, you guys are gonna learn how to do this. We're gonna see how. And with that, I used, I had them record the audio through sound, like voice recorder on their tablets, and email the audio to themselves, which we then, because I couldn't find a good video movie maker app on the tablet. I tried to, and it was just like complex for me, and I just knew that was even complex for them. So they used to email it to themselves, and then we got on the computers and they used Movie Maker to put it together. But this is where it was only, I had to were only one person per topic, because I didn't really want them to be able to copy each other. And so they can see which ones were already full and which ones were still open. I use that a lot for when they have to choose research topics.
Dan, you went next?
Do you want social studies class?
Sure.
Oh, well, I'll say one more thing. I also use it to set up different versions of my test. So my one test, I actually have like sometimes 3 or 4 different versions where I have my test, like my non-modified test. I almost always had a second test that was just in Spanish, or a Spanish-English test, and then I had a third test that might have been, or a third or fourth test that had different kind of modifications. And so the students only ever saw which one was in their own group. So they only ever
You
saw
can do
one
it
test
for one
in
section.
there,
Split it out.
when they went to go like click on
That's
it.
for groupings though, right?
Yeah.
We can use the groupings.
I use the groupings
I think it would talk
for that.
like that.
For the most part, I do a combination of lessons and quizzes. And the kids actually have their own choice of which ones they want to actually do. One of the things though that everybody's actually responsible for is reading that day's necessary material. So they'll actually go in and click on whatever day we have to be in class. We have a kind of a funky schedule, at least this year, so you don't actually see them every day. You see them for 3 days in a row, off a day, 3 days. And what they'd actually do is they would go into something like this, and these ones that were actually, I just clicked onto that is actually the Easy Voter, which when they would come in from the previous day is in here, would be basically a lineup. It's like for all of this material, these are the videos, these are the pages inside the books, these are things that actually go with each one of those things we cover each of those days. So if you had somebody who was a real go-getter and wanted to go actually all the way through the material before we ever got through it, of course they can come back into it at any time. But when they get to the one from the previous day, thank you. Go to something more here. And we come into day 10, turn day 10 on, Easy Voter basically takes them through a series of questions related to the material that they were supposed to read from the night before. Those who actually are successful in it, then I go ahead and release them and they go out and do either their quizzes or tests, whichever ones they want. If they're not successful with it, then we have a little, small group time, me and 4 or 5 of the other kids that didn't get to it. Then you have lessons to go through here. Now, I did have a problem actually when I started going through lessons after a while, is friends found the smart friend and started stealing stuff from them. I was like, hey, why don't you do it? And it's like everything was in order. So I was like, all right, sweet. Everything, the questions are now no longer in order. Now, the reading material and stuff that goes with it, because it's actually extra reading material, these ones are usually set up like this, given their standard and so forth. There's reading material, there's a video to go with it that's separate from the video that you've seen earlier. And it's separate from the reading that you saw earlier. But after that, they go through the lesson and the questions actually refer back to the reading and to the video. So if they were actually so inclined to go this route through it. Neat thing is that I had some people actually try it, that may not have normally been successful with it and have tried to keep going with it. Some people who have a particular type of learning strategy found out, hey, I can't actually handle that. I need a quiz, and a test. I can't, be left alone doing something like this. But, with that is that there was an incentive as far as if you got all of these done before the test actually happened, you didn't have to take the test. But these ones were actually filled in with questions that were fill in the blank. So you didn't get the exact right answer, it kicked you back to the reading. So then I had kids that would actually start writing down the questions as they were going through them. And if they got it wrong, they were like, okay, that's not it. They go back into the reading, go looking for it, write down the answers. They were actually going on their drive and creating a file and sharing a file with another friend that goes, all right, I went through this and here's the answers. So Drive is actually their way of being able to share stuff. Of course, then again, too, is that you can actually see that stuff. If you use land school, you can sit there and watch what they're doing in your classroom, because most of my stuff's actually done in my classroom. Now, if they're doing it outside the classroom, you know, there's not much I can actually do about that. But good Lord, if they're willing to go through all of that effort, and I said sooner or later, your friends are going to leave you. You know, if you are constantly coming back at them trying to get stuff from them, you know, and you're not applying yourselves to it. That's why I actually ended up, this right here was a chapter 18 feedback. I was like, hey guys, how's things going with you? You know, how's the lessons? Do you like the quizzes or so forth? Are there people in your study group that are basically swiping answers from you and you don't like it? You know, you want to be moved away from these people? There's something we should do about it? You know, just to give, and it gives them an opportunity to actually answer questions that if you were to ask them even one-on-one, they're going to lie to you, just because they don't want, you know, reprisal from other students. Is it necessarily working to 100% success? I don't know. Some of them seem to do, you know, seem to like it. I get more work done. The grades have actually increased in an area of like 7 to 10%. And a lot of, there are kids who are not really good readers who like the videos, and by throwing reading into here, which I plan on using more of the textbook one, is if they're in Chrome, Chrome has a beautiful text reader, so it can actually read the stuff straight to the kids, and in actually whatever language you want it to be read back to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we did, with the tutoring, we did one of the video with the text, and it's hard to navigate per se with him, with the English, but it was good to have both the audio and the written one, because being here, he's understanding a lot more auditory rather than the visual, because people are just talking to him. So it was good to have the option of video, and I'm a lot faster just scanning through some text rather than listening to it, so it was good to kind of do both.
Okay, Deb, you want to share?
Not nearly as sophisticated on the whole way.
I was wondering about the easy voter.
Oh.
Is it like choices, or is it like a quiz?
Yeah, but it will put your results. You put results over into takes it to a spreadsheet, like an Excel.
Like a smart response.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like students take a survey like, how do you want to proceed with the next activity?
Or even a question as to, did they get this content? So even if you have like, which of these is the correct conjugation, you know, that you can automatically see, did they, because it's like a,
ABC, multiple
ABC.
choice, true, false, and fill in the
And
blank.
then it just compiles all the data for you.
Mhm.
And it's,
so you see it.
Hmm?
and it's immediate.
Yeah.
The only thing it doesn't do is put that grade, like if you want to take a grade on it, it won't grade it. But
Well, it grades it and lets you download an Excel spreadsheet, but it doesn't put it in the Moodle grade
It
book.
won't put it
Or
into
the
Right,
thing to
it
do.
doesn't put it in the Moodle
It's
grade
more
book, but it's a way to,
informative type of video.
yeah, and it's a way for you to, you can actually upload, like if you have a PowerPoint or something, you can upload all the pictures, and when they are on EasyVoter, you can hit next on your PC and everybody's goes to the next one.
The nice thing is you actually also get to see the kids actually, as you're going through it, you don't actually have to have it up on a screen, because every kid would have it on theirs.
It forces it to go
Right.
down.
Yeah. Now, as they are doing it though, you get to say, oh, hey, Johnny, you haven't responded yet. I'm like, they're okay, he's in. You know, and you can watch it as it goes through, and you also get to see exactly how bad it's going. You know, because if you know it's like, this question, the answer is actually C, and you see nobody clicking on C, you're like, okay, you guys don't understand this particular topic.
I guess I just need to fiddle around with it.
You get that from England, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. And it's really easy.
Never met about it. Go to,
Needs to be recalibrated, Deb, if you want to.
Oh, chicken.
Students
it's on
complaining that they
one.
can't read my screen. Up close, it's really hard, I find it,
Click.
Cool, it's cool.
like in the
Yeah.
middle of
What?
the classroom is easier.
let's see
You might have to reset your resolution. It may be is your resolution too high?
No, not you,
Because a lot of times teachers will increase their resolution because it looks really nice on their screen here, but then it makes everything way too small. You need to be in 1024 by 768.
This was, because of the elections, there was a lot going on, and I have to say Moodle was a kind of a savior for me this year because of having been out of school a lot this year, more than I've ever had been out before. So fortunately, I could go to Moodle and create different things very quickly and have them continue working. This particular one was an assignment where I went in and to YouTube and got all the acceptance speeches from the 4 different candidates for the president and vice president, and asked them to watch these. We did them actually 2 at a time. And then they had questions they had to go through. But we did a class discussion on this as well. So this actually lent itself. This was the part they had to do at home. This is the part they also were supposed to do. They didn't do this one very well. Some of them watched it, but not so well. But we did this. Then they had the questions they had to do, and then they submitted it on Moodle, which was really nice. Okay, so that's one. So let's go back. Let's see. Which one? Mine are so small compared to you guys have all this stuff. Let's see, what is this? Oh yeah, Fourth Amendment. This one, there's a website that I have that's terrific. It is very up to date on different issues that are current issues with government. This is their link. And in this particular case, they had to, a game that they had to participate in, which specifically was talking about the government and are they looking over your shoulder? And so they had to participate in a game. This actually had several things that they had to move through. You had to identify ways that the government could be watching and how they are watching. And let's see, I'm gonna have to go through this. And what you do is you just tap on things that relate to this game. We get through it. All right, and so then they come to this, and they had to respond to a quote by Ben Franklin about they that can give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety preserve neither liberty or safety, and they had to respond to that. So that's pretty cool. So these are a lot of the things that I do.
Now, if they could submit their dev, where does it go?
Actually, they can't submit here.
Say,
The instructions said you must come back and submit to, and can we get out of that?
Yeah, go back to your-
This is actually, they have to, and then
they add it down here and
They
put
add
the
it down
submission
there.
here.
Okay.
And so I have done a ton of this. This is, like I said, this kind of thing has really saved me because of just not being able to be here like I've normally been able to.
The
So.
kids have told me that the online text they're more willing to do because they don't have to upload anything. They don't have
Yeah,
to.
just
They could
print it.
answer it anywhere. They
Yeah.
can answer with their phone. They're answer it.
Yeah, I have a lot who've done the phone,
So
and I haven't
Most-
stopped them.
yeah,
They get
online
that phone
text
out
is-
and they're going.
the online
And
text, yeah.
I let them use the phone because they're doing the work. So I don't have any problem. What I have run into is I was using the upload where they would, and I ran into a problem with kids not having Word. And I tried to tell them, okay, if you've got a Word what about the rich text? And, you know, they look at you like you're a crazy person. And
Well, they can
so-
use
They
Kingsoft
I know,
Office
so
on their tablet. They can
nobody
use. I mean, they have three different.
They could.
They have three different options on their tablet.
But
This
nobody,
is
yeah.
this is something that came up last week when we talked about this. That the new assignment one that's on here and
the new
possibly
one.
using that one instead. No, if you haven't done one this way, I'm switching all my assignments over to it. So when I add an assignment now, instead of doing any of these, I always do advanced.
Okay.
And the difference between advanced is, in fact, Deb, I'm going to convert this one
Sure, go
over
ahead.
and just kind of show you. I'm going to copy this one over just to show you and to give me something to copy.
See, look at the, do you see this, the font stuff though on that, or the different stuff?
Oh, I did the wrong one.
Is
No,
that
I did that.
font?
I did that.
Okay.
I did that to copy it over. I
Okay.
turned. Okay, so the grade thing is still the same down here. So I'm going to say 20 points just to
Yeah.
make it match. But here's the difference: is that I'm now allowing kids to. I'm using this one, so I'm going to say one upload with notes. Okay, and now when you look at this one, it's going to look the same, but now at the bottom they have both an upload section and a notes section.
Oh.
And what this is they can choose which way they want to submit. They can either do it in Word and they can upload, they can click edit and do it online, or if they do a Google Doc, I make them post the link to the Google Doc in here. So now they have three different ways in the same assignment they can do it. And because I don't care when they give it to me, whether it's a Word document, whether it's a Google document, or whether it's an online one. And the advantage that the kids like about the Google over the online is that you never have to worry about saving out and timing issues.
Yeah.
If they open this up in here and they leave it open for 20 minutes and don't type and don't ever hit save, and then all of a sudden it's save, it's gone.
I have it doing my stupid
Oh,
slide.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're making an assignment, it can happen.
So all they have to do is then put the link in there.
I have them do the link in there. So like if they're on Google Docs, I'll go.
And you can just click on that note, and it's linked, or you have to cut and paste that link into your
Let me
browser.
If you don't know, you can hit docs.nationaltrail.us and it'll take you into our Google Docs. So if they, for instance, let me go to something that I don't mind sharing. Not the password list. Okay, I don't even know what this one is. Oh, it's the one where the kids tested hard drives. So if they go to share it with me and they click on here, the top thing under sharing is the link. So they would have to add me as a person to view it, but then they just copy this and then go in here and paste that in there and hit save. And now on the submission at the bottom, they've given me the link to their Google
So
Doc.
they have to
And I
have
should be able to click right on.
They have to have you as a person, or they have to say it's public. If I change it to public on the web, then they don't have to share it to me. They have to do one of the two. If it's not public, then it's got to be shared with me, or I will click on it and I will not see it. They have to do one of those two in order to let me see it.
All right, so in that, go back to the.
Oh, back to here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now I can click on this and it opens.
Yeah, and now I want them to do this. This is what I want them to do. I actually want them to link it
Okay.
and turn it into a link so that now down here I can click on it and it will open. Because if they don't make it a link, then I got to copy and paste
Do you have
it.
to go individually to everyone's page, or will it come up like an online? text
It'll
where
show up if they share it with me. I can. Is that what you're asking?
No, go to like, say,
How would it show?
where people submitted it,
I know what you're saying.
you know, like. an
No,
online
it's just
text.
like this. I can go up here to the attempts, and I will see everybody. You know, there's not one to see, but the difference is right here. I'm going to see either a link to YouTube or a link to the document. In fact, I can show you one that we're doing right now. That's the same thing in my advanced technology class. This is their final exam, and so in here they have a link to the notes. So if I click on that, I see the note that he typed, and there's 2 Word documents that everybody has to do both in this assignment. But that's what you would see. You would either see a document or you click on notes and see the note with the link right there, either one of those. And it's a way to make it flexible for them to, I mean, if you're being flexible and you don't care how they submit it, then it's a way.
And I like you can comment right there too. when you
Right.
go along, and usually it just pops up in a little box, I can read it, and then I can comment right there.
Yeah.
Right,
With-
and-
With the journal one, I think you had to go more individually.
And this is what I was saying with that one, so that when I hit grade,
So on your text,
with
like that.
the, if you do this one, see, I would see all their stuff, and then I could just say next and see the next person, and I can put in their comments as I go, so. And you can see down here, if I'm doing it that way, you can see the notes link and the both document links. I will tell you that when you set this one up, you need to, a couple things. You want to say that they're down here, enable send for marking. I say no. And once they send for marking, they can't edit anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so if you leave that as yes, and they say, and the intent there is you say, I'm done,
Yeah.
and then you get an email saying that they're done, and you
Okay,
see that they're
yeah,
done.
yeah.
But if they accidentally hit that, they're done. They
Yeah.
can't edit, they
And you
can't
go
change.
back and say-
I can go into them, they can email me and say, I forgot something, so
Yeah.
I just say no.
Yeah.
If it's due on the 5th, I'm grading it on the 5th, so.
Well, is this the default no, or is it?
It's
yes,
default to yes. I need to look. There may be a way I can change the default.
Yeah.
I mean, that may be something I can change.
Okay.
And in fact, I need to really change it to allow notes too. I don't know why you wouldn't want it to allow notes. So anyways, it's just a different way to do the same thing that allows a little bit of flexibility in there. But, because I like the idea of letting them try the different tools, especially if they don't have a computer at home and they're gonna do it on their tablet, then giving them more ways to do it, just that way that's not as big of a excuse, at least I hope. So, does anybody have anything that they felt like they tried that worked really well versus didn't work at all?
I tried tests this year,
Yeah, you
or
did.
quizzes.
Yeah, a whole bunch of
In
them.
fact, I do